Hey everybody, we are out here today to talk about the Royal Enfield Himalayan, and specifically what I've done to this bike and how much it costs to get everything together on the road ready to roll. Because this is an inexpensive bike. It's probably the most affordable adventure bike on the market. The retail price on these is $49.99 for the 2021 model. Out the door, taxes, title, license, everything. This bike cost me $55.34. So that's an excellent price to start off with. So we're going to go through all the accessories from front to rear, talk about why I bought them and how much they cost and everything like that. And I believe it or not, I think this is the first time in my 40 some odd years of motorcycling that I've actually completed a bike. I've actually done what I wanted to do to a bike and it's finished. 99% finished. There's a couple of things I might tweak around a little bit, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's get started. Let's start at the front and we'll go to the back. First things first, the first thing I did to this bike actually was raise the front mudguard. I just bought a spacer kit from Hitchcock's in the UK, and I'll put links to everything in the description box. And this was $13, and this raised the front fender 10 millimeters. So it allows for more room for mud and rocks and things like that, which I ride in a lot, so I needed that, or felt like I needed that. Because if you get that caked up, it can actually prevent your front wheel from turning when you get stuck and things like that. And I'll find some video of people having some trouble with that. But that's one of the first things I took care of. Next up was the headlight guard. If you're out riding with other people, they tend to kick up rocks and you don't want them to break your headlight, so a nice little headlight grill comes in handy. Even though the Himalayan doesn't have the best headlight, I still want to keep it. Plus it just looks the business. This was also from Hitchcock's and this cost $46 US. I got to convert everything over from pounds because a lot of the stuff I bought from the UK, and your price may vary depending on what the exchange rate is at the time. If you go to buy something like this, it might be a little different than mine. All right, next item was this shorty little windscreen. This was $91 from Hitchcock's, and this was an emergency purchase. I wasn't planning to buy this, but once I got my break-in up over 300 miles and it could go faster on the bike, once I got over 50 miles an hour, I started getting some vibrating in the visor of my helmet. And it was very, very bad because it would vibrate the entire helmet, and my head is inside the helmet. So if you've ever looked through buzzy mirrors and seen how vibrating things can be, that's what I was seeing out of my eyes looking forwards. And I felt it was dangerous to ride the bike above 50 miles an hour in that configuration. And that's something that's kind of personal because I just probably happen to be the right height and I happen to have the wrong helmet, perfect storm to make that an issue. So I ended up having to buy this as kind of a one-shot cure-all for that vibration. I might try the larger one later, but for right now I'm keeping the short one. We'll see what happens down the road with that. All right, next is the bark busters. These are the Storm model wind deflectors on these. I went with the bigger ones because I've already got the VPS on another bike and I wanted to try the larger ones, and so far these work really well. I've ridden in the cold with no gloves on purpose just to test these out and see how good they did and where the wind actually landed on my hand. If there's any problem, it's at the very top. I do get some wind on the back side of my hand, and that's about it. My fingers stay warm. The rest of my hand stays warm, but I get a little bit of air on the back side of my hand. But other than that, these have been really, really good. And I do have some black VPSs that I might swap these out for in the summertime when I need a little more airflow. But these were also purchased from Hitchcock's, and it was $141. All right, the next thing might be a little bit controversial just due to its price, and that is these 12-volt accessory plugs. I've got a regular 12-volt plug and a USB plug over on this side. There's also an SAE plug down below for a battery tender and things like that. The problem here is this whole setup costs $188, and that is very expensive for what you're getting here. You can do it a lot cheaper, but I did this because it is a complete wiring harness that is removable. I can just unplug it and take all this off, no problem. I haven't spliced into the wiring harness of the bike or cut any wires or done anything funky like that. So it's just plug and play, and that's why I did this. I wanted it that way. This can actually be moved to another bike if I wanted to. So This comes from SRC in the United States, and it's pretty expensive. All right, up next we've got this little carbon fiber plate with a little clip on it. And what this does is allows you to, if you're at a drive-through or someplace where you're getting a receipt or something like that and you need someplace to stick it really quickly, you can just put it in there. And this was $9 from Enfield Accessories. Not a big deal. I just grabbed it because I thought it'd fill up this space right here that was kind of empty. And it's actually, I've used it already, so it's actually in service. So that's a kind of a nifty little thing. Not a biggie. All right, next up is another kind of pricey item. This is the Perfect Squeeze phone mount from Hondo Garage. If I can manipulate it here. And this works really well. I can't put my phone in it because I'm actually recording on it. But there's 3 pieces here, and that makes this thing pretty expensive, but I needed it and it works. So you've got the actual phone mount, then there's the Buzzkill vibration dampener, and then the mount to mount it to the handlebar clamp. All this costs about $140, making it a very expensive phone mount, but it works, and I needed to protect my phone from vibration because I use the camera on it a lot, and I didn't want to ruin the image stabilization on my camera with a thumper. A single-cylinder bike vibrates a lot, and I wanted something that would absorb that vibration. So I went ahead, bit the bullet, and bought this thing. All right, next up we got another big one, and this is 3 pieces again. So I had to buy 3 different things to mount these jerry cans to the bike. So let's take one of these off and look at everything that goes into this. So the first thing you have to buy is this mount right here. This comes from Enfield Accessories, and it costs $67 US for a pair of these. And these bolt up to the weld nuts on the underside of your front racks here. The next piece is this round piece, and this piece here that you see. This comes from Rotopax, and these were $76 for the pair of these. These bolt to that first mount that you bought from Enfield Accessories. Then the cans slip right on. Maybe. There we go. Tighten them down. One more time. And the cans I bought from Rotopax. Actually, I got these from Rotopax on eBay, and I got a deal on them. I got $90 for the pair. So altogether, this I'll have to add it up and annotate it in because I can't do the math off the top of my head what all this was. 67 plus 76 plus 90. So these were kind of expensive to do, but I really wanted to do these. I got a gas can on the other side, so that bumps my fuel range. That means I'm carrying 5 gallons of gas. I got 4 in the tank and then one auxiliary. Then I've got some water as well. And the water might actually be more important than the fuel because I do a lot of camping up in the mountains. And if you've seen my camping videos with the Monkey, I can't carry water on it because I have really limited carrying capability with that bike. And so I tend to camp in lower elevations where I can obtain water at the campsite or near the campsite. I can't take it with me because it's of the weight, and I can't carry a lot of weight on that bike. And so this will allow me to go into some higher elevations and play more remote places that I normally wouldn't get to. And the nice thing about these is they're modular. You can expand these. You can buy an extension and put 2 cans or 3 cans or 4 cans, as many as you wanted, as long as you don't exceed the weight capacity of what you can carry. I'd go 2, no problem. I think 3 might be pushing it on the Himalayan, but that's an option I have. So I can carry up to 4 gallons of whatever I wanted. So pretty neat setup, and I'm really happy to have that. Redneck edit. Dumbass. All right, I've also replaced the mirrors, and I used the double take adventure mirrors. I really like these. A lot of people commented when I had these on the Monkey they didn't like the shape, but I like the shape of these because they give me a good field of view. I really like them. And if I put some of these back on the Monkey, I'll probably get the round ones and keep these on this bike. They work just fantastic. And another feature of these is with these ball mounts, I can actually take the mirror off, put a camera mount there, which I've actually already done. I did it in the fuel economy video for the Monkey. And it gives me an option, and I really like that. And I want to use that more coming up this year because I'm going to do some different things with my cameras. And it serves a dual purpose. So these are really cool. I like them. They are $120 from Double Take, and those are staying. I'm really pleased with those. All right, next up is my tank pads. I bought these from Tech Spec. I believe they're in the United States, and these weren't cheap. Altogether, this cost $90 for both sides and then the tank pad. They don't have pre-cut ones for this, so I had to cut this out and shape it, and it took some effort. So it was not easy, and these were $60, I think, is how much these cost. And this was another $30 for this piece, and it should be a couple inches longer. It's a little short, in my opinion, but I scuffed up my tank right away when I first bought this bike, gripping the tank with my legs while I was riding, standing up, and I noticed I had scuffed the tank up. So I had to polish the paint and then apply these. And so that's taking care of it, taking care of the problem. And I'm really pleased with these. These turned out really well. And I might buy some more of this to do the top of the panniers. So I think that would make a nice texture for when I strap things down to that. So kind of pricey, but needed. All right, next is this little brake guard right here. Your brake master cylinder is right here behind this, and it's kind of exposed, and you don't want nothing to happen to that. So I went ahead and purchased this from SRC in the United States, and this was $28. All right, the next item is probably going to be difficult to see, and it's probably not necessary, but I'm OCD, and this sort of thing just bothers me. When I put the pannier racks on, I had to relocate the turn signals, and this is where the turn signals used to be. And from Enfield Accessories, I purchased these little blanks right here that kind of fill the holes left behind by the turn signals. And that's just me. That's just one of them little things that just bugs me, and I wanted to cap that off. And I believe those were $11 or something like that. All right, next up we got the big boys. This is the most expensive thing I've done to the bike, and that is the panniers and pannier racks. I actually purchased these on eBay for $580 for this set. Racks and the panniers themselves. I believe that deal is gone. I'm going to link to Hitchcock's, but you can search around for good deals. You can get them cheaper. And I went with the Enfield panniers because, one, I really like the looks of them. I think they look great, and they match the look of the bike, and they're slim. They don't make the bike wider than the handlebars. So that's pretty handy for going into tight situations, and it gives me a little extra room. And I've already got a 60-liter bag, so having 26 liters on each side plus that 60-liter bag, that gives me a lot of storage capacity. And plus I'm using this as a car replacement. I haven't driven my car since I bought this bike. I've only driven it one time, and that was just take it out and make sure the batteries were charged on it. So I'm using this as my everyday vehicle, and I use the panniers a lot. I keep like all my snivel gear and rain gear in one side. I keep the other side empty in case I go to the store or anything like that. I've got a trunk I can put things in. These are fantastic. I really like them. Probably not the best for heavy off-road use. I might look into a set of soft panniers for that down the road, but for now I'm keeping the hard panniers. There's arguments for either one, and I don't buy that safety argument. I think that's nonsense, but that's a different story. But yeah, I might get the tank pad material to put on top of these as well, because I've got lashing points here where I can strap things to the top, which I do plan to use. Yeah, I'm really pleased with these, but this is the most expensive thing that you're going to end up buying for this bike probably. And last but not least, I have replaced the rear rack with this model from Hitchcock's, and this was $168, but to me it was well worth it because the stock rack on the Himalayan is absolutely pathetic. I'm sorry, Royal Enfield, but that is just a paltry, I can't even call it a rack. It's terrible. This was a mandatory upgrade for me, and something I was definitely going to do because I just couldn't deal with that stock rack. It was pretty bad. Construction-wise, it wasn't great. Size-wise, it was terrible. This is much better. So I have plans for this. I plan to put my bag on the pillion, and then something else is going to go here, and that'll be a subject of another video once I've got all that together, because I need to upgrade my luggage just a little bit, because I've got one other piece to purchase to go on this. But since it's not part of the bike, I'm not including it in this video. All right, so all of that wrapped together came out to $1,763 is what I spent to accessorize this bike. And so that comes up to $7,200 something. I'll annotate it in here. So for $7,200, I've got a bike capable of traveling the world and doing everything I want to do on it. The only things I haven't done is I haven't changed the tires, which I've been pleasantly surprised with the Pirelli MT60s. Every review I read on them said they were awful, but I haven't had any trouble with them at all. I like the road handling capabilities, and I've taken it out in the mud and gravel, everything like that, and I haven't had any trouble. So I'm not in any hurry to replace those, which I thought I would be, but they're staying for now. One other thing that some people have seen is that I bought this bike in October of 2020, and it was manufactured in January of 2021. So how did I get this bike 3 months before it was actually made? What a lot of people don't realize is that there was a pre-order for these, and that sold out in 24 hours. So the people who did that actually got an additional accessory from the factory that other models aren't going to have. And that is, this one comes with a flux capacitor mated to a Fetzer valve with ball bearings, and that gives you some unique abilities like this. What that means is once this baby hits 88 miles an hour, you're going to see some serious...
Untitled